All right, we're going to talk about Nexus Points because it was brought up by a subscriber who obviously didn't see other videos of mine where I actually address that directly. I want to talk about Nexus Points. What is in stone for the future? Nothing. And what is flexible? Everything. But we're going to talk about that because we do have Nexus Points, and what are they? They are events that will happen. I'm going to explain what that is, what's happening now, because we're at a Nexus Point. Huge one. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. I got my fan on. Can you hear it? Probably annoying. Yeah, okay, I'll turn it off. Went for my walk, sweating a little bit, but I want to address this very important comment left by a subscriber. Actually, it was not a very nice comment. You know, if you're going to leave one, there are nice ways to say things, but I'm going to address it nonetheless. First of all, if you're going to watch my videos, please watch the entire video before you make comments. I can tell that most of the viewers that have derogatory comments aren't watching the whole thing, and it might make more sense to you if you did. Then you can make a comment based on all of the information. We spend our lives like that, right? We see one situation, we make a conclusion, a judgment, and then we're off to the races. It'd be really nice if we could just look deeper into one another and understand what's going on out there, because we're all in this together. What's a nexus point? You do have 100% free will. That is a fact. All right, we know this. These things you shall do and more. That could not have been a statement by Christ unless we had free will, because he didn't say you can't do certain things that I did, or you're totally SOL, sure out of luck. And so he didn't say that. He went through his own journey to prove that it is possible to break through the density of this amazingly challenging planet. The whole journey is about that. So now we follow in those footsteps. Ye are all gods. What does that mean? We are all of the one creator. We're all of the one creator. And therefore everything you do is creation, and therefore flexible. It's flexible within the scenario that we chose here on Earth. Now, what is a nexus point? The accumulation of specific groups, energy groups, soul groups, light beings, that play out certain roles and illusions. Earth is one of them. No one is on a prison planet. If you think that, you're creating that illusion and you can live it. Somebody made a comment that all of these New Agers, okay, let's not label people. All these New Agers are blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so here we go, separating and categorizing. Like, it's like all wealthy people or all, you know, whatever. This is absolutely how we've been functioning up until this point that has created separation and certain nexus points that create conflict. A nexus point is an accumulation of energy fields, and I'm not going to go into the details because it just doesn't really matter at this point. Nobody really has all of the answers. But a nexus point is an inevitable cycle that meets exactly at a certain point. We're going through one because Earth goes through climate changes whether we're here or not. We can contribute toward or away from that, but we can't stop it. Because she has her own free will. I want you to remember that, because you can say, well, we have free will, why can't we stop it? Because planet Earth is a sentient being also. No more than you can make somebody fall in love with you. That free will is theirs to play out. So no matter how hard you try, your free will cannot override someone's. You can try and mess with it, but you're not going to override free will because your ego thinks that that's how things should be. That's a nexus point, is the accumulation of certain things that we have done and contributed to that's either going to make this eventual point where finances have cycles, right? I'm a former investment banker. I know this. It's like the shocker, you know, news at 6 or 8 or whatever time it is. I don't watch the news. We know this is going to happen, so we continue to throw our money into whatever we think is going to earn it back and give us returns, and then we're shocked when we lose money. We're not learning from this, but now there's a whole group of people who understand that we can change the impact of these nexus points. In other words, we're going to go through this cycle no matter what, right? Physical, weather, all these things that we don't really have control over, but contribute to another, including the weather, by the way. We know that American Indian tribes and many other indigenous tribes have affected the weather. Do they completely control it? No. Why? Because it also has an intelligence. Everything's intelligent, including the clouds, the weather, the trees, everything does. It's super intelligent beyond our imagination. Because it doesn't have a brain, doesn't mean it doesn't have the intelligence. In fact, it's way beyond us because we get in our own way. So what is this nexus point? So it's the accumulation in the cycles that allow us challenges to break through. So it's coming back around with the planetary temperatures, the finances, struggle and conflict is going to be high, and it coincides with the energy fields of the planets, the sun, solar flares, and all kinds of things. By the way, when solar flares are at their lowest, that's when we have most conflict. Did you know that? Yeah, they've documented this. You'd think it'd be the opposite. So what I want you to understand is we're at a nexus point, and things are inevitable to happen, but no one can predict the date or time and also the impact it'll have. I'll give you an example. Edgar Cayce, and so I did a video on remote viewing, and all these remote viewers had to admit that no two remote viewers had the same future and that it was changing. And so they realized that they shouldn't even mess with that because we have free will and we have the ability to change it. Now, they can see certain things like climate change or with our energy resources and, you know, certain things that we might go to, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. We can still, you know, blow ourselves up if we chose, right? So none of that is in stone. This is why I tell you over and over again, we do have control. We do, because even though we have a nexus point, we can make a decision according to our energy fields and whatever we contribute to that, if it's going to be cataclysmic or if we're going to go through and learn from it and come together as a community and do amazing things. And that's the whole reason for these points. We've created them. All right, so we're going through a major nexus point, obviously, and we're going to hit that. It was 2022, which we're in right now as of this video. 22 to 24, you're going to see this whole thing shift, and we could absolutely reformulate and create new foundations that will allow this nexus point to be a positive movement for us. Now, Edgar Cayce, I started to say, you know, I'll give you an example. Edgar Cayce did predict our shorelines were going to disappear. Well, of course, you know, I mean, when things melt, of course the water level is going to go up. Big whoop. What, this is a shocker? And we're all, oh, you know, we're on an evolving planet. It's going to change. And it's not going to happen overnight. Some things will, you know, earthquakes can happen suddenly. We have a lot of foresight into a lot of these things, and we can prepare for them and adjust our world to it. It doesn't have to be a frightening, fearful thing. Now, when Edgar Cayce projected this, or predicted this, it was 20, 30 years ago. It hasn't happened. I mean, we're way past when he predicted that. Does it mean it won't? No, because a remote viewer, as I shared with you in one of my videos, was asked to, they decided if you're going to remote view, if you can tell me where a pyramid is buried or a missile is hiding, why can't you tell me what's going to happen next week? So they tried that, and he predicted the towers tragedy. But it didn't happen. It happened 16 years later. Time is just not something we can pin down because there's no such thing as time. And nexus points and certain situations can be projected into the future. We can't know when those are. All right? They will show up exactly when they're supposed to and when things line up. So we can put things off in our linear time, although there's no such thing. So, you know, are we going to have shorelines disappear? Of course we will. I mean, absolutely it's going to happen at some point. You know, I'm down here in Florida. Do you see me running? I mean, you cannot live your life like that in fear. If you want to contribute to this planet in a positive way, go ahead, live where you want to. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm telling you right now, the fear of these events is what creates them. the projection of them. It contributes to it and speeds it up in our linear timeline. So we're in a nexus point. It's going to be weather, financial, all kinds of things, conflict. Many things are going to happen, and this is what we came here for. This is what I cannot express strongly enough. And I hope you get this, because if you do, you can go through life in total acceptance and peace, because you are not a human being that ends. You're an energy field experiencing this absolute ultimate challenge of which you get to evolve and learn and become something great and go back to oneness. In other words, how we treat each other is the number one critical factor here. Not whether we have a tornado or the oceans come take Florida out. It's not about that. You can never die. It's about, how do I treat my neighbor when we are in trouble? How do I share my food with people if we're ever in that situation? These things will test you, but we as a absolute global society never have to allow those things to happen. There's enough food, money, shelter, joy for every single person on the planet. We're not distributing it, and people are afraid of that because they're told that's a way of life that's negative and bad, and we lose control. It's the opposite. If we're in control of that, and we're the one distributing wealth and sharing it, you and I will never lack for anything. The whole planet will change. And by the way, that negativity that goes into the energy field, we've talked about this energy field of the planet, the Schumann resonance, you can hear it going up. That means the frequency is raising. We're in control of that, and the more we contribute to a higher frequency, the more we change the planetary, let's just say, future. There isn't one, but the planetary future as we know it. So yes, there are certain events that will happen. You can't walk around worried about that if you want to contribute to that new, and 5D, everybody's like, 5D, let's forget the doggone term. It's only a dimension that people absolutely experience because they're going outside their bodies. I have experienced it. People will say, one person, you haven't been there, nobody's been, like, how would you know? How would you know? Unless you're there with me, and I have been there before. It is an existence here where you're absolutely not even present. You're observing your material existence here, and you are actually outside of your body, and you can do off the charts amazing things. I teach you guys this. People have done off the charts cray things. If you want to join my miracle circle, I just released a meditation from that to let you see what some of the things we do. We go into the space of miracles because we don't have all these thoughts and opinions and you're this and you're that get in the way of that unlimited space that you have access to. Every thought and belief is a barrier to you manifesting anything you desire. And your judgment of somebody or correcting them or whatever, this is how things are. You're only confining yourself, not me. And so you will never know what I'm experiencing because you're convinced that you're here in some, prison planet. Whatever story that you're believing is real. It's just as real as mine is when I tell you I go to spaces and places that you can't even talk about to people because they can't imagine. They're frightened of these things because we're told that out there is the unknown, and we fear the unknown. There's nothing to ever fear. That out there is you. So what's a nexus point? Yes, things are going to happen for us, and how we handle them is everything. That's all it is. So instead of fearing it, it's going to happen no matter what, run! Landria, you're not realistic. Yeah, I am. Because no matter what happens, you know what? If we go down here underwater in my lifetime, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. If we go, I go. All right, it's going to happen. I have to make some decisions about how I live my own life. But I'm going to tell you what, I'd rather be on a raft pulling people out of the water than running off to the hills, hoarding and, trying to save myself. And that's just my choice. It doesn't make that wrong. The Nexus Points are absolutely designed for the challenges that we came here for, and that's it. We can control exactly how that plays out. So we still have control over Nexus Points, how bad they are, when they happen, and again. Even Edgar Casey, and Nostradamus, as I've shared many, many times, point blank said that everything can be changed. The future can be changed, and they're only seen, as remote viewers are, only seeing the probability at that split second, and that's a split second. That means the next split second that we have, a million other people awaken can change that whole future and adjust it. And instead of anything being cataclysmic, could bring us together to create a new world that's amazing without fear. So it's up to you. And if you go into fear, and you guys have seen this, if you want to go in and take my free masterclass for 1 hour, and it's time to move past it. It is a barrier. It's an illusion. It's a choice. It stops you from manifesting all the amazing things that are waiting for you. There's nothing you can't turn around right now. Nothing. Nothing. So you could be sitting in a prison with somebody else who's, just miserable, and you could be in a euphoric state. Because that's what you are, and you're expansive, and that is that other dimension that I speak of, where you're not really present in the body, you're observing it, and you understand the purpose of it. And you celebrate it, because it's such a temporary stop along the way. What are you going to do with it? There's another way of life, and it's beautiful. This is free. This is Manifest Anything, and when you go in there, I'm going to give you all kinds of chances to get training. I have lifelong breakthrough fear training now. It's for life, and weekly live training with me. I work with only small groups of people at a time, and I'm changing lives, and you're changing lives, because it has to be your choice. I can only offer the training, and it's working for a lot of people. So it takes practice. It takes some, help to get out of that frame of mind. The same mind that created the problem cannot solve the problem. Einstein, because that mind doesn't see a solution. If you're creating a problem, you're not the mind that sees the solution. Be the solution. Those Nexus Points come and go. What are you going to do? Get ready for amazing things. Not trauma, not cataclysmic events, but amazing triumphs and opportunities to be great. And when things get shook up, don't you get sort of excited? It's like, wow, some really cool stuff's happening. Life becomes amazing again, and you become passionate and excited about the future. You have purpose. You can do that right now. So please subscribe and come into my free series. These are free videos for people creating online businesses, and mine, Digital Explorers for Spiritually Conscious Businesses, is coming out in 2022. But you're beautiful, you're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings, my friend. This isn't an easy ride. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.